listed on their birth certificates. How the public is reacting to the controversial bill.
The man got out, went in the woods, ran back in his car, and seconds later it was on fire.
Brush fires continue to spread in New York. What officials are saying about what causes them and how they can be stopped.
And in sports.
And they are playing well, 12 quarters. And we're going to keep pushing these guys.
Find out more about Ohio's second straight midweek win. Newswatch starts right now. Thousands are experiencing an internet access issues after a Verizon outage. Good evening, I'm Rosie Wong.
And I'm Natalie Davitt. Welcome to Newswatch.
Verizon customers in Southeast Ohio are experiencing internet and cell service disruptions because of an outage. Verizon says a fiber cut caused the outage. Affected areas include Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Kentucky. Athens customers may expect the issue to be resolved by 7:45 p.m. tonight.
All throughout Southeast Ohio today, we've been seeing those temperatures really feeling like fall today all throughout. Right now, we're seeing Athens 49, Lancaster 52. As we head a little bit more south, we're still in those low 50s. Those conditions all throughout these last 24 hours have been on that lower side. Last night, we peaked into those low 40s, and then once we got into our day today, we had that high of 50. Currently out there, 49. We're starting to cool down for our night, having that humidity start to rise with that light rain. We've had that light rain all throughout our day today with that 100% chance of rain. We've had those spotty showers making its way through. We're looking like we're going to clear out here very soon with those showers. Going to have another wave of them before we clear out for the rest of our weekend with this high pressure system making its way through. We're going to have a little bit of a clearing for this weekend, but next week we're going to be experiencing a little bit more rain in there. I'm going to be talking about that in my full forecast. Let's take it back over to Rosie.
Thanks, Isabel. A restaurant in Nelsonville is supporting a hurricane relief. The Mine Tavern in Nelsonville's historic public square hosted a hurricane relief concert organized by Claystar Studios. All proceeds went to United Carolina Cavalry to help with disaster relief for people in North and South Carolina. The concert featured several local artists, including Claystar Studios founder.
Music is a great way to reach lots of people. It's speaking from the heart. It's a message. Music is a message.
Claystar Studios raised just over $380, plus non-cash donations being sent to South Carolina as we speak.
Gallia Academy High School is getting a new health and wellness facility, all thanks to the Appalachian Community Grant. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine approved $2.6 million for the facility. Students will be the primary patients for services including on-site medical care, optical and dental services, along with behavioral health services. School staff and the community can also be seen. Local medical care professionals from Holzer Health, Hopewell, and Health Recovery Systems will operate the Wellness Center. The center will be built next to the school's track near the athletic building. Now, Ohio is set to become the latest state with a bathroom ban affecting transgender students. State lawmakers passed a bill requiring all public school and college students to use the bathroom or locker room that matches the sex they were assigned at birth. Morgan Trow has the latest.
Being seen in a bathroom where it doesn't look like you belong puts transgender students in danger.
Transgender students like Leo Duru, who says he's been verbally and physically attacked after entering bathrooms that don't align with his identity as a trans man.
I still overthink every move I make and try to leave during classes so that fewer people will be in the restrooms.
Now he fears what will happen under Ohio's soon-to-be law. The Senate passed SB 104, which requires all public schools and colleges to mandate that students can only use the bathroom or locker room that matches their sex assigned at birth. It now heads to the governor's desk. Trans Ohio's Dara Adkison says this will make the lives of queer youth harder after Ohio already banned gender-affirming care and their participation in school sports.
There are people that hate them somewhat unequivocally just for wanting to use the bathroom. What are we doing?
But State Rep Adam Byrd says this bill is about public safety.
It is controversial, but it is an issue of protection for those people that are vulnerable.
A study from UCLA found that there is no evidence of safety risks by letting trans people use facilities that align with their identity. An American Academy of Pediatrics study did find that it's actually the transgender teens who face a greater risk of sexual assaults in schools that prevent them from using the bathrooms they choose. Still, Burge says that there's fear that assaults could happen if the bill isn't passed.
We don't want men in the girls' restroom, and I think also that the other way is true too, because as a young man, you don't want to be falsely accused in a restroom by somebody of the opposite sex that has come in there.
There are some exceptions, like a parent helping a child under 10, a caretaker with someone with a disability, or someone who's responding to a legitimate emergency. Schools would have to use their own funding to build single-use stalls for trans kids.
It is part of a targeted attack against people who can't fully speak for themselves.
Governor Mike DeWine says he will sign the bill once it gets to his desk. Meanwhile, LGBTQ advocates across the state are already planning to file discrimination lawsuits.
The Ohio Senate held a hearing for a bill that would abolish the death penalty in the state, but lawmakers are unsure if it has the votes to pass. Wednesday's hearing was the first time Senate Bill 101 in almost a year, and even senators in the committee are conflicted on how to vote on it. Supporters say the bill could save innocent Ohioans from being executed, while opponents say the death penalty is a good deterrent. No one has been executed in Ohio since July 2018. Attorney General Dave Yost filed a motion to make Ohio the lead plaintiff in a class action lawsuit. The lawsuit alleges Zoom Info Technologies misled investors and caused $75.9 million in losses for some state agencies. The Washington state-based software company provides subscribed clients with contact information for potential customers. The lawsuit alleges the company claimed to have better stock growth related to the quality of the service. Zoom Info tried to prevent customers from canceling subscriptions, coercive auto-renewal policies, and threats of legal action.
Should the parent company of Facebook get to own Instagram and WhatsApp? After a judge's ruling yesterday, an antitrust case focused on that question is going to trial. Amy Kiley reports the Federal Trade Commission wants the answer to be no.
An antitrust case aimed at breaking up social media giant Meta is heading to trial. That's after a federal judge partly denied a request for summary judgment yesterday from the parent company of Facebook. The Federal Trade Commission alleges Meta overpaid for Instagram in 2012 and WhatsApp in 2014 to stifle competition. This is its second attempt to sue Meta over that claim after dismissals of similar suits from the FTC and a group of states filed in 2020.
Facebook has used its dominance and monopoly power to crush smaller rivals and snuff out competition, all at the expense of everyday users.
In an April statement about its request for summary judgment, Meta argues it does face competition from apps like TikTok, X, and YouTube. In a new statement to multiple news agencies, Meta says evidence at trial will prove buying Instagram and WhatsApp has benefited customers. The antitrust lawsuit against Meta is not alone. The government also is suing 3 other tech giants.
Apple is one of 4 companies that the House investigated for potential anti-competitive violations back in 2020. So Apple, Google, Meta, and Amazon were those 4 companies, and Apple is now the last of those 4 to be sued by the federal government.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Just hours ago, President-elect Donald Trump offered Robert F. Kennedy Jr. the role of Secretary of Health and Human Services. He is a leading anti-vaccine voice in this country. He criticized agriculture and health policies. There is no word yet if RFK Jr. accepted this position. Last night, Trump also appointed Republican Representative Matt Gaetz as the next Attorney General. Gaetz represents Florida's 1st congressional district. House Speaker Mike Johnson says Representative Gaetz entered his resignation from the House yesterday. Republicans hope they can fill his seat with another member of the GOP before the new Congress starts January 3rd.
Republicans have won a majority in the U.S. House of Representatives. This gives the GOP a trifecta, having control over both houses of Congress and the presidency. President-elect Donald Trump will now have a path to enact an agenda that could profoundly change America. One key seat in Ohio still has not been called. Democratic Representative Marcy Kaptur. Kaptur represents Ohio's 9th House District and is the longest-serving woman in Congress. The question now will be how large next year's House majority becomes and whether the GOP can widen the margin of a handful of seats.
A federal judge postponed the upcoming trial of a defendant charged in the January 6th riot. William Pope faces misdemeanor charges for his alleged actions during the siege following the 2020 election. Shortly after President-elect Donald Trump won his second term earlier this month, Pope asked the judge to push back his trial, saying he and others could potentially be pardoned. The U.S. District Judge agreed to the delay, saying a pardon from Trump is possible. A new trial date hasn't been set. Coming up, brush fires continue to burn in New York. What officials are doing to stop the spread?
And it's almost that time of the year. Decorating Christmas trees is a major part of the holiday season. But will this year's ongoing drought affect your Christmas tree shopping?
It's been a rainy day today. How those conditions are clearing out next on Newswatch.
On the American Buffalo.
You don't get a lot of chances to correct history's mistakes.
Unlikely alliances are formed.
The early conservation movement is full of people who did the right thing for the wrong reasons.
But is it already too late?
This is not just a story of tragedy. This is a story of persevering and continuing on.
Don't miss the conclusion of The American Buffalo.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
It shows us something between what you see and what you don't see.
This is the story of the most curious man in history.
The influence of Leonardo's vision was enormous.
He's doing things no one had ever done before. And that is simply astounding.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Understanding the past gives a sense of the future. This is the first time that anyone has seen this in 2,000 years.
This is amazing.
Well, I'm excited now.
Pompeii is a battle against time.
You think I'm joking, but look at this. It did really happen.
Don't let anybody tell you who you are.
History teaches us to honor the past.
When you look back, you're like, wow, that was pretty special.
This is something that's actually altering the course of history.
You're charged with keeping these stories alive.
Fire agencies in New York are working to extinguish a massive brush fire burning in an Upper Manhattan park. It's one of the several such fires that have burned in other city parks recently. Laura Aguirre has the details from New York officials.
The brush fire in Manhattan's Inwood Hill Park erupted again overnight after fire teams battled most of Wednesday to get it under control. The fire commissioner says more than 100 firefighters are grappling with rough terrain, limited water access, and collapsing trees in the fight. Across the Hudson River, fire crews are making headway on containing a deadly wildfire in New Jersey.
New Jersey's saying 50%, we're down closer to 30. Hopefully after today's burn operations, that number will be definitely increased.
The Jennings Creek fire has burned thousands of acres along the New Jersey-New York state line in recent days, and authorities say it's claimed at least one life, an 18-year-old firefighter. The region's worst drought in decades is being blamed for the fire conditions, but what may vary is their ignition.
Without lightning being present or any sort of a spontaneous combustion that might have occurred, over 90% of our fires are realistically some sort of human activity in the area.
A Long Island volunteer firefighter has been arrested and charged with arson after investigators say he was captured on home security cameras allegedly setting fire near a neighborhood.
The man got out, went in the woods, ran back in his car, and seconds later it was on fire.
The suspect could face even more charges.
There were a number of
these very concerning brush fires are all similar in nature. So we're going to continue to look at that.
In Manhattan, New York fire officials are hopeful rain in the forecast could provide some much-needed relief to their efforts soon. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
This year's drought has made things difficult for farmers for their crops, but what about the holiday season? The drought might not hurt Christmas tree sales this year, but a few years from now, it could be a major problem. Samantha Cheney explains from Vandervalk Farm in Mendon, Massachusetts.
Many of the trees here are thriving. As you can see, some of them are taller than me, but these were planted 10 to 15 years ago. These aren't the ones that are causing all the concern. It's the ones like this that were planted this year.
While the drought has been wreaking havoc on farmers, leaving fields brown and dead, on Christmas tree farms, most trees are still evergreen. The drought didn't affect the growth of the mature trees this year, but it affected some of the seedlings planted this spring. Some of those didn't make it through the summer. As for the 2,700 trees Vandervalk Farm planted back in spring, they've lost 500 of them so far.
Now, it has been really cold and windy this past week. Are we expecting any rain in this upcoming weekend?
You know, it's been a rainy one out there today. We're still having those drought conditions here in southeast Ohio, but we are looking like we're going to have a little bit of a clearing for this weekend before we get into a little bit of rain next week. We were in exceptional drought looking at last week's drought reports, and now going into this week, some parts of Athens are out of that exceptional drought, but we're going to have those conditions just kind of looming all throughout the rest of the year. Looking at today, currently still in that light rain, we're having those sprinkles all throughout our day today at that 49-degree temperature currently. Like I was talking about, that rain that we were having today, it has been very consistently spotty throughout our day. We're having a little bit of a break in our rain that is going to be happening very shortly before we get hit with another wave of some spotty showers before we're clearing out for the rest of our weekend. We're seeing that conditions currently 49 in Athens, Lancaster 51, in Huntington 52, Parkersburg you're seeing 47. We're starting to cool down for our night. Today, like I was saying, that 100% chance of showers. Our temperature low for tonight is going to cool down to 44. We're going to have that 40% chance. That chance of showers will be clearing out once we get past that about midnight hour. So if you have any Thursday night plans, you might want to bring that umbrella just for a few sprinkles here and there. And then after midnight, we'll be clearing out for our day for tomorrow. 12 hours ahead, there is still the low pressure system that is going to be affecting more parts of northern Ohio, but here in southeast Ohio, we're going to be clearing out. We're going to have a little bit of clouds still looming from the low pressure a little bit more north of us, but other than that, it is going to be very consistent with those temperatures of today, just a little bit clearer. Once we're looking at 24 hours ahead, that high pressure system really breaking up some of that rain and cloud cover that we were having from today. Once we're looking at tomorrow, very consistent with the temperatures today, that high of 55, low a little bit lower without some of those clouds to hold in the warmth of 41, cloudy conditions. Those cloudy conditions are going to continue into this weekend. Once we look at Saturday, the high pressure is still going to be over us, but there's still going to be a few pops here and there of some clouds for our weekend. Our highest chance of some sun in there is for our Saturday. Then once we hit Sunday on, we're going to have a little bit of a warm up. We're having this low pressure system moving in once we're looking at later in the week. That's going to warm us up for our midweek. But once we get into later next week, more like today, like this time next week, we're going to have that showers come back in. For our 7-day outlook, Saturday, partly sunny, our highest chance for some sun in there. The warm up that I was talking about, once we hit Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, our temperatures slowly going up. Once we hit Tuesday, we're having that high of 66. Still a little bit warm for this time of the year, pretty consistent with those fall temperatures. Once we hit Tuesday, that is also our highest chance of some rain in there. Once we're looking at Wednesday and Thursday, that 40 and 50% chance of showers. Our overnight lows for these next couple days are at our lowest for the week. Saturday night, you're going to need that jacket. It's going to have that low of 35 and that high of 59. Once we hit our early work week, having those temperatures like I was talking about, be a little bit more on that warmer side. You won't need that jacket as much. Still going to need that umbrella though once we're looking at this time next week, our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Let's take it back over to Rosie.
Thanks, Isabel. With colder conditions and earlier sunsets, winter can bring on symptoms of seasonal affective disorder. Seasonal affective disorder affects millions of Americans, but many don't realize that they experience this condition. A lack of sunlight can affect vitamin D and serotonin levels, which regulates mood, sleep cycles, memory, and behavior. Those with this disorder may experience feeling of anxiety or depression, fatigue, loss of interest, and fluctuating appetite.
It's extremely common in colder weather climates, especially this time of year, with symptoms beginning and intensifying throughout the winter and even into the spring.
Doctors say if you're experiencing symptoms of seasonal depression, you're not alone and should talk to your healthcare provider. Therapy and medication can help manage symptoms. Experts also say it's important to stay connected to others.
Next in sports, after Ohio football's 35-10 win over Eastern Michigan, the Bobcats have outscored their last 3 opponents by an average of over 30 points. Find out more about the Bobcats' latest victory and their path to a potential MAC championship appearance coming up next.
On Masterpiece.
Mr. Wilcox, I'm so dreadfully sorry.
To my dear husband, I should like Miss Margaret Schlegel to have Howard's End.
It isn't like her to leave it to an outsider.
How do you do? Thought I recognised your voices.
I like Mr. Wilcox.
Men like the Wilcoxes batter their way through the abyss, pulling heaps of money from it.
That is your card, is it not? Then will you please oblige me by explaining how my husband came to have it?
Howard's End on Masterpiece.
Sunday at 8 on WOUB.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
I hired 3 untrained women as civilian advisors, and they've been getting results.
Oh my God.
I think he's got something hidden in the house.
This is a matter of life and death. There's going to be a 4th murder. Stay away from me tonight.
What? Why?
It's Judith. I think she's in danger.
The Marlowe Murder Club, the season finale. On Masterpiece Mystery.
Sunday at 9 on WOUB.
Cyril, it's snowing.
Well, you just look at that.
We are planning something rather special.
Lights, music.
There's such a lot for you to see.
Have you ever had that feeling? You're exactly where you belong.
Stream classic Call the Midwife specials with PBS Passport, leading up to an all-new holiday special on Christmas Day.
If you don't drive it, donate it and support something you use every day.
Good evening and welcome to sports. I'm Josh Herner. Ohio football extended its 3-game winning streak last night after another dominant performance against the Eastern Michigan Eagles. The Bobcats have outscored their last 3 opponents 123-26 after taking down the Eagles 35-10. Defensively, Ohio forced 4 turnovers and held the Eagles well below their season averages in yards both on the ground and in the air. On the other side of the ball, quarterback Parker Navarro threw for a career-high 277 passing yards. Navarro also set a career high and tied a school record with 4 rushing touchdowns, totaling 109 yards on the ground.
This is probably the most confident you've heard me, the things come out of my mouth tonight, you know, and so I'm, I mean, it's what it is, and they are playing well, 12 quarters, and we're going to keep pushing these guys. We can be better, but for 12 quarters, we played very, very well.
With the second week of midweek action complete, the MAC is still competitive at the top. The Bobcats now control their own destiny, and if they win out, they will head to Detroit for the MAC championship. With Miami and Bowling Green facing off in 2 weeks, that matchup could be a win and get in for the championship title. Toledo, Buffalo, and Western Michigan aren't far behind the top, with the Bobcats heading to Toledo to take on the Golden Rockets next week. Moving from the field to the court, the Ohio men's basketball team comes off of a loss from Illinois State and have a quick turnaround this Friday against the Memphis Tigers. The Bobcats have dropped their last game against the Redbirds, while Memphis is coming off a tight victory against UNLV. P.J. Haggerty has dominated for the Tigers so far this season and is currently their leading scorer. A.J. Brown led Ohio in scoring, coming off a 20-point performance against Illinois State. Both teams are coached by alumni, as Jeff Bowles leads Ohio and former NBA All-Star Penny Hardaway leads the Tigers. Looking past Friday, Ohio will be heading to South Carolina for the Myrtle Beach Invitational and will take on a few strong mid-major programs. Ohio has had 2 home games against last year's OVC champion Morehead State before hitting the road again to take on Marshall. Ohio women's volleyball has hit a crucial point in their season and with 2 games left have a chance to compete for a MAC championship. Ohio just needs 1 win in their final 2 contests to secure their spot in the tournament. However, they will take on first-place Bowling Green, who is also playing for some important stakes. If the Falcons take both contests, they will host the tournament, clinching home court advantage. The top 2 seeds in the tournament will receive byes, and Ball State and Western Michigan still have a chance to bypass the first round. Toledo is currently on the outside looking in, but still have a chance. Cam Hunt and Anya Harchitska both have an opportunity to maintain their position at the top of the MAC leader in kills. Both have 407 kills on the season as they head into the Bowling Green Series this weekend. I'll send it back to the news desk.
Still ahead, an Olympian skier is returning to the sport after 5 years of retirement. What brought that athlete back and what's in store for her?
It's such a magical place.
The abundance of life, absolutely extraordinary. And then it hit me. The world has to see this. Seeing the lions back on the beach. How are they going to survive?
In my lifetime, I get to be the first of something that could change people's lives.
The treasure was hidden in a special place. We are very lucky.
Wednesday on WOUB.
Coral reefs. They are one of the most endangered habitats on Earth when it comes to climate change. But help is on the way. I'm Dr. M. Sanja. Join us as we find ways to preserve our changing planet.
We have the building blocks to rebuild that reef.
To see science in action, absolutely amazing.
In the beginning, there have always been those of us looking for stories.
This is a huge moment.
I feel like there's nothing around that can stop me.
It's your being. It's who you are.
We need to do something to make a change.
I know that there are people like me up there.
We need to have a voice.
It's what you do next that matters.
You start to discover a deeper part of yourself.
My whole world changed instantly.
Olympic skier Lindsey Vonn is returning to the sport. Vonn is ending her 5-year retirement after months of testing her fitness. In 2019, she said she believed her body was broken beyond repair. However, Vonn had a partial knee replacement surgery in April, and now she says she can ski without pain. She spent 18 years on the World Cup circuit, winning 82 World Cup races, 3 Winter Olympic medals, and 8 World Champion medals.
For our final look at weather tonight, we're going to have that rain kind of subside off for the rest of the night. Once we hit Friday, we'll have those cloudy skies start to warm up once we're looking into early next week. Those mostly cloudy skies sticking around until Tuesday. That's whenever you're going to need that umbrella again. So make sure to enjoy the sunny weekend while it's around.
That does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Josh Warner and weather, I'm Natalie Davitt.
And I'm Rosie Wong. Stay tuned for the PBS News Hour coming up next. Have a great night.
Support for